Sometimes I have to try to explain why I love sports so much. And sometimes it's easy. It's victories, glory, joy. It's just a fun communal experience, even when you're watching it by yourself, which is how I take in most sports. But today, as I start the week here, and welcome you to another edition of a Monday morning show. Hi, I'm Ken Napzok. Subscribe, like, review, tell your friends, or just scream at me. But as I start this week, you see I had a Miami Dolphin hat. I was quite proud of this purchase. I was in Las Vegas at the beginning of September, and I was remarking to my friend, Mark Ellis, he, football fan himself, the Washington football team, and we've been through it as fans over the last decades. But I told him I don't own any Miami Dolphin merchandise anymore. I used to be adorned in it often. In fact, infamously, as I've shared here on this channel and podcast feed and just anywhere in my life, which means I guess I don't have as much shame as I say I have about it. But I have worn Zubaz pants in public. Now, I haven't worn them in public post-1994, and they wouldn't fit over one leg anymore. But, I did it. I used to wear Miami Dolphin and New York Yankee gear a lot. And I'm good with not wearing it often. I don't have a problem if you're a sports fan and you do. I do kind of hold true to the idea that if the name on the back of the jersey isn't your own, you maybe shouldn't be wearing it post 30, but that's a sweeping judgment. But I do love sports. And I had pulled out of being a sports fan for a while. The New York Yankees, quite frankly, won too much and spoiled me as a fan, and I acknowledge that privilege. So they haven't won a ton in the last 20 years, so maybe I should dive back in with all of my heart and passion. But I've been a Miami Dolphin fan since 1984, and over the last 10 years, I concentrated more on the nerd side of my brain. I am both of a nerd brain and a sports brain. And I know I'm not alone in that, but a lot of folks are either or. And I get it, I guess. But I pulled off the sports stuff for big reasons, and you've heard me talk about them before here. I just kind of grew tired of the sports talk radio world, the sports talk radio ecosystem. I grew tired of just, hours and hours of boastful claims from the teams that they were that were about to take the field, and then the list of excuses when they lost, and then all the experts, many retired players who know how to play the game, would spend hours upon hours analyzing the game, predicting the game. At the end of the day, you just needed to get on the field and play. So I just had less and less of interest of the sports world. And then the nerd world was rising. And then, as I have talked about before, including this past week on the latest Blather Mailbag, sports talk radio found its way to nerd culture. Now, I don't mind sports talk radio. I like the passion. I seek it out. If the Dolphins win a big game, I will go find a bunch of analysis because I like to relive the victory over and over. When they lose, put a pin in that. I actually like to sop up the analysis as well, maybe to really relive the pain. But I just kind of grew tired of all the I just want to get to the less more And I think that's become true in my view on pop culture and Star Wars, even though I'm part of that ecosystem. I know it's might seem weird or hypocritical, but I hope you enjoy Force Center. I don't know if I'd listen to Force Center, right? I want to go watch the movies. I want to go watch the shows and then figure it out from there. I'm also like that now with politics. I roll up my sleeves and dive in. Absolutely. Recently was at the No Kings rally on October 18th. Good time, peaceful time. And thanks to those who, saw my very simple, humble captioned poster or post, I should say, and just either liked it or moved on. Special shout out to those that felt the need to comment, especially those that were longtime fans of me. And I can't believe this is what you believe in now. Enjoy your life. Enjoy your life. I'm like that with politics, too. I'm tired of talking about it, but I like listening. I'm tired of screaming about it. We need to get to the field to play. We need to find a solution. But that's a little bit of a sideways turn here. I'm wearing my Miami Dolphin hat with pride because I bought it in Las Vegas, like I was starting to say. I'd said to Mark Ellis, I haven't owned a Miami Dolphin hat, shirt, jacket, anything in a long time. I think I'm going to pick one up. And, as much as I love the Dolphin colors, the teal, orange, white, neon Miami kind of vibe, I am more of a, muted colors, black and white kind of guy these days. Not quite goth, mostly lazy. So I was like, I'm going to pick up one of those NFL hats that are black and white. I'm going to do that when we get back to the mainland. And then I went for a walk in Las Vegas, stumbled into a lid store, and I bought this hat. The NFL season had not begun yet, and I was convinced that this was a sign that the season, despite, a lot of people believing it wouldn't, but that this season would go good for the Miami Dolphins. At the time of recording this message, the Miami Dolphins are 1-6. They just came off one of the more humiliating defeats in the history of the franchise. In fact, by the time this hits the airwaves, the coaching staff could be fired. I don't know, and I'm not rooting for anyone to get fired. I actually like the coaching staff. Maybe it's the players we fire. I don't know. It seems like the coach and the staff might be the ones to go. This isn't a sports episode. It's to say I was about to sit down to talk about something else tonight, which I'm going to get to. But I was trying to remind myself, why do you like sports? Because I sat down, I had some work to do here on a Sunday morning, and I turned on the Miami Dolphin game on the NFL radio. I can't afford NFL tickets or YouTube Live or any of that stuff anymore. Sports has priced me out. But it's quite a bargain. On the NFL app, not a sponsor, for $6.99, put it on a credit card, so it's like it doesn't exist. You get all the broadcasts. Occasionally, if it's an in-market game, you actually get to watch the football game on your phone or iPad. And it's a bargain. So, get promo code Give Ken money and sign up for it. But I put on the Dolphin game, had some work done, and pretty quickly became apparent that the game was over. Our season's over. It's ugly. And I was quite irritable. I actually got irritable, which is kind of the danger of I think fandom in large, but especially sports fandom. There's a lot of dark tales of what sports fans inflamed with the passion for their teams, particularly after losses, will do to those around them. I think you can look those stats up and know where I'm going with that as I try to keep it light. But yeah, it can get you. It can get you because you're just so invested in today or when I'm recording. This releases on Monday, of course. I was damn irritable. The Dolphins losing, but also just essentially losing the season, giving up on the season, really pissed me off. I was grouchy. Even tried to get outside, go for a hike, took my dog, and I was grouchy. I was grouchy at nature. That's never good. There's a lot of things that might be okay being grouchy at, but when you're grouchy at nature, that's not a good thing. So on the way home, I was like, man, why do I like this sports stuff again? And I do think, for me, it is the refiner's fire that sports is. It's not about winning. It's about getting into the position of winning. It's about, training, discipline, teamwork, all those kind of slap on the ass kind of sports cliches. They're all true, but it's a journey. And that's kind of what I missed when I stepped aside from being a more dedicated sports viewer. I didn't watch Miami Dolphins for years, and for the last 10 years or so, it wasn't a lot of good teams. I kept tabs on them. Yeah, absolutely. I'd pop in. All right. Then about 2023, it started to get interested. In 2024, we tried. It didn't work, but I'm back in, baby, and I'm hurting again. The Dolphins are hurting me again. That's been the case since 1984. My first game as a NFL viewer was the Super Bowl against the 49ers, and I chose the Dolphins. I chose poorly, especially for a California kid, only 4 hours south of San Francisco, but I chose poorly, and it's been pain ever since. I thought we'd get back right away. We never have. But it is that journey, and I miss that journey. I was a New York Yankee fan in the mid-'80s on. If you're not a baseball fan, the Yankees are the most decorated franchise, I think, in all of sports. You got to look at some hockey teams and maybe some, football clubs in Manchester or something. I don't know. But in terms of the big professional American sports, the Yankees are the most decorated team. But I didn't know that when I started rooting for them. I was playing on a softball team in my school lunch league, and I was on the Yankees. I could have been on the White Sox. I could have been a White Sox fan. And I was kind of even more of an Oakland A's fan at the time because I played Little League a year later, and I was with the Oakland A's. Well, the Arroyo Grande A's. We didn't play in Oakland. But I had played on the softball team, the Yankees, and I thought I'll get some baseball cards because all my friends, they're moving on from garbage pail kids. They're going to baseball cards, and I'll grab some Yankee cards. Who's this Don Mattingly guy? He looks pretty good. I think I'll follow him and root for him, and now I'm a Yankee fan. I didn't know, but that was a period of trials and tribulations in the Bronx Zoo. And by 1990, it was the worst it had been in a while, and I had endured that. But I was younger then, with more time to root for the teams you love, and more time to watch every game, more time to study not just the team in front of you now, but to study the future of the franchise. And the future seemed bright. We just had to get there. We just had to build the right pieces, find the right chemistry. It was like a science experiment, get the right people in charge. Even when we picked the guy, Joe Torre, everyone thought that's a bad choice, and he turned out to be the best choice. And it became a journey that took us to the promised land in 1996 with a big World Series win, and it was great. But sports is not about that end game. Sports is about that journey. And when that journey goes well, it's one of the sweetest things you will feel in life. I really do mean that. And I take the lessons of sports into so many other things. Not the sports talk radio stuff, not the hubris, not the bombast, not the dickery. None of that. I do take the lessons forward. The not just competitive nature and that you want to win. I think that can sometimes be a bridge too far for me, but the being competitive in how to succeed, how to grow, how to work together, wanting to do it right, wanting to live for today, wanting to build something for the future. I think there's so many tremendous values in sports and playing sports and coaching sports. I got the chance to coach Little League Baseball for 2 years, but 1 year as like a head coach, 22 before I moved to LA. And it was one of the greatest 4 or 5 months of my life. I loved it. I might talk about it more on the channel. And I loved imparting those lessons to the youngsters who were playing with me, playing for me. I guess I wasn't playing. It'd be weird, 22-year-old in a 10-year-old game. When I was 12, when I started playing, I was playing with 10-year-olds. Man, that was really good. But I truly, 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 truly value the lessons that sports has taught me, that you can be down, but you don't necessarily have to consider yourself out. You can dig deep within yourself and find the fire to compete, to win, to get better. You can know when you come up short. It can be measured. And now you can go ahead and change that. I need more of those sports lessons in my life this year. I think I've lost track of them. As I've floundered more and more this year, I think I've lost track of the let's all huddle together and figure this out. We're better than this. Let's go prove it. It's not about hoisting a trophy. We all don't get to win the Super Bowl. We all have the opportunity to work for a better tomorrow. So I'm wearing this Miami Dolphin hat to kind of remind myself that, yeah, it ain't good in Miami. And it hasn't been good for a while. Different regimes, different coaches, different players. Just something about the city seems to kind of bring about this consistency of losing. But one day, I truly believe one day, Miami Dolphins might get a win. Not just in a season, but a big win, a Super Bowl win. They might get to the big dance. They might make the playoffs and actually win a game. And when that happens, all the pain, all the suffering, all the throwing the hats, all the being grouchy at nature will be worth it. I really love and appreciate those journeys. I love looking back and thinking, that's how we got here. So go Dolphins next year. This week, looking ahead, there's a big test in front of me. Here's the test. It has not been great for me lately, as I've been honest and open about here. And thank you all again for being receptive to that. And understanding that I'm not here to just publicly wallow. I'm here to publicly dog paddle in the oceans and waters of trouble. And hopefully we can all swim together. I was reminded that we were all in this together when I was at someone's housewarming party Friday night and was talking to some folks. And all in the industry I'm in various aspects of it. But we all had the same kind of stories. Opportunities drying up, fear setting in, doubt driving the wheel, driving the bus, and not knowing what to do. I truly mean this. It feels good when you know I'm not crazy for feeling what I'm going through. I'm not crazy for the struggle, right? Like, it's not just me. We're all going through this. That means finding the jobs is harder. And again, all the stuff I've talked about recently, about the loss of identity, the switch of identity, like all of us are dealing with that. So that was good as well. But that's what's been going on for me lately. And again, I appreciate you all giving me the grace to run through that. But this week, and I hope this finds you in the same spot. This week, the biggest test I have for myself is, am I worthy of the help? Am I worthy of the assistance, the grace, empathy, and compassion, and sometimes just straight up gifts that I have received lately? The end of my week, I received some, just a friend reaching out and trying to help, going above and beyond, and trying to make a difference in my life. They already have made a difference, but they were like, "Hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to help you with this. I'm going to call this person so they can call this person, and I got a plan here. Just have some faith in me. I'm going to try. I can't guarantee it, just like we can't guarantee we're going to win Super Bowl. But I can guarantee that you and I are going to try to work this together because I love you and I believe in you and I want to help you." And as much as I do love a good wallow, and as much as I've been lost in the wilderness this past year, there is kind of one thing worse than just feeling lost and alone, and it might be when you receive actual bona fide, he's a suitor, help. Because I think we all have the ability to play small. We all have the ability to be just fried up in the guilt that we want to simmer in. I'm also hungry while I'm recording this. You know what I mean? There's that quote that's often attributed to Nelson Mandela that it's also maybe not from Nelson Mandela, but that's not the internet strong suit. I think I had it on my MySpace page at one point, attributed to Nelson Mandela. I don't know. It's that big speech of not playing small. Who are you, a child of God, to play small? You should, and this isn't about money, success, fame, and power, but it's like who you are is important. Who you are means you have a place in the story, and you should not hold back. You should not play small. It should be big. You should be big. You should want to change the world or affect those around you. There's the old church Sunday school song, "This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine." You all know the rest, I'm sure. That song maybe has some different meanings, but that's kind of where we all live. And I think that's good. No one wants to walk around being just a pompous prick, cut adrift in your own hubris. My favorite word, hubris. No one wants to be around that guy. The I'm worth everything entitled jerk. No. So I think because of that, often I play smaller than maybe I want to be, or smaller than I need to be. Because this isn't about ego. This isn't about being humble. This is about fear. Not just fear of success, but fear of, am I worth that? Am I worth the grace given to me? I received some support this week. Someone really extending their hand and trying to lift me up. And that's hard to take. It's really hard to take. I didn't like the position I'm in. I don't like the position I'm in right now. But man, when someone says, "Here, let's give it a go. Let's try this." Oh, shit. That means I have to look myself in the mirror and say I'm worth it. I'm worth the love and support they're giving me. I'm worth the love and support they're giving me. It's really tough sometimes. Earlier this year, I received some help from my family. You know, and I think it's good to say thank you. I think it's good to say I really appreciate this. They might know that, but it's good to say it. But at some point, I found myself being too apologetic for receiving the help, which undercuts their efforts. It's almost an insult to those helping you. They wanted to help you. They know who you are. They know your intentions. You're worthy of the help. It's not for you to question the worth that they find in you. It's up to you to live up to that. There's that sports pressure. I don't think it's pressure. Because those people aren't like, hey, here's some help. Now go conquer the world. No, they're just like, we know who you are. Not that we know that you're capable of what you're capable of. We know who you are. You're worthy of this. And I think that is the hardest thing, to accept our worth. I once said to someone who was going through a breakup, this is years ago in the old job, I said, like the future podcaster that I would become, you at some point just have to discover what your own self-worth is and never go below that line. Never go below that standard. Years later, that same person was reconnected with me and was kind of going through some stuff again, but repeated that to me. And they said, a great man once said, I was like, oh, that sounds like great advice. Where'd you get that from? They're like, you idiot. You said that. That's because I don't take my own advice. But this past week I did. I will say this. If you've been listening the last couple of weeks, you know that I need work, like a lot of people in this country and a lot of people in the world, a lot of people in this town, in this industry. I need some work. This is work. This is fun work. This generates some income, but it's not much. I need work. And I was freaking out. And last Sunday, I freaked the fuck out. Freaked the fuck out. And then Monday morning, I got a message from some random company, and hey, we're looking for writers, and I thought, oh, manna from heaven. In my panicked, most desperate hour, help came to me. But I wasn't worth the job. I really wasn't. I had to go through this weird orientation process, and I'm not going to name the company. Most of you wouldn't know it anyways. They produce a bunch of weird YouTube channels. Never heard of them, but they do millions of views, just kind of this bottom barrel kind of content. But it was money, and I need money. I'm desperate for money. But after a couple days swimming around in what they were asking and what they were paying, I was confused because I did know my worth, and this was beneath that level. And I didn't like what they were doing. They seemed nice enough, but it was an internet sweatshop. I don't agree with that morally. But I felt I had to take it. Troubled times, desperate measures. Nothing about it felt good, and I was confused because this seemed to have been a sign from God. I called to the universe answered. I got a lot of good advice this week. And one friend of mine said something pretty profound. Speaking from a godly point of view. But I'll let you insert whatever descriptor in there that makes you feel all right with this conversation. I accept his version. He just said, hey, God's not going to find you when you're panicked and desperate and offer up something in that way that doesn't feel right. He's not going to come along and be like, well, you got to take it. It isn't about a God or the universe of the spirit or Iron Man showing up and going, guess what? You're a billionaire now. No, it's not that. But it's like if you get the help you need or you get an opportunity you need or you get the direction placed in front of you need, it's going to feel not better like it's perfect, but it's going to feel a little more smooth. It's not going to conflict you in the way that I was feeling conflicted. It was confusing that I thought I had got a sign. I thought I had got some miraculous help, and it was going to be really bad. Again, money's money, and I needed it. But my friend said, you got to quiet your mind. You got to quiet your soul. That is when the help will find you. That is when the path will emerge. That is when the help you need might show up. Not while you're screaming and running around with like a chicken with your head cut off. An old phrase, a violent one, but I use it. So I turned the job down last week. I was nice about it. I wanted to write them a bit of a, and by the way, You're an internet sweatshop, you assholes. Didn't do that. Turned it down professionally. And I've never felt so confident in a decision that I made while the storms were raging around me. The ship I'm in right now is bobbing up and down. It's taking on water. I don't know how long it's going to stay afloat. But on that day this week, I knew I had done right. And I have. Since then, things have kind of leveled out for a bit. And I'm trying to be worthy of the help. I knew my worth. I faced my worth. But now, over the next couple months, I have a chance to live up to the standards and perspective that everyone else around me has of me. I am worthy of the help, the opportunity I have received. And so are you. As Julia Roberts once said in the philosophical rich Pretty Woman, the bad stuff is easier to believe. We tell ourselves the bad stuff all the time. And the panic and the fear comes from the bad stuff. It comes from, honestly, sometimes I can't see the forest for the trees, and sometimes I do not know what I'm going to do tomorrow. That's all real. That's not imagined. If you're experiencing that now, it's not imagined. We are, at times, really, truly 1-6 coming off a bad loss in Cleveland. That is a reality. But that is not the end. And you are absolutely worth the help. And absolutely worth what other people believe in you. If that makes sense. You know my point. You know my point. It's just so much easier to say I'm not. It's so much easier to play small. It's so much easier to say the clock's running out. I got to accept my fate. Sometimes I do have to accept that fate. Sometimes the clock winds down to 0 and you lose the game. That's the reality. But all you got to do is get back out there again. Get back on the field. Set those standards. Work hard. Believe in yourself. Get good coaching. Draft a few good players. But look around you. Look at the people in your life. How do they see you? What are they willing to do? What are they saying? And when you get that help, don't over-apologize. Don't feel bad. Say thank you. Accept it. Be humble. Yes. Yes. Give back. Pay it forward. But don't over-apologize. That just means you're taking their help, casting it aside, and burying it in your own self-doubt. They're helping you for a reason. Receive the help. This week's going to be a good week. No matter what goes on in the world, no matter what we all face every day, we're going to get up every day, and we're going to be worth it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for starting your week with me. I love doing these. I love making these public on YouTube, but they've always been on the podcast feed. Check out the podcast feed if you want to take this with you on the road. I really appreciate that. The Napzok Network heads into its 14th broadcast season in January. New things up on the Patreon page. Check it out, patreon.com/KedNapzok. I will also try to put some more comedy sets up there. I think I got some tape coming on some recently. Getting that Young Guns 2 thing. I have a note. I have a note that says Young Guns 2 video file. We're going to get it. I'll be on the Patreon page. Thanks for being a YouTube channel member. All right, that's it. I'm out of here. Bye.